tells you that they have kept or are keeping Passover, and they tell you how they observed it, does your OCD kick in and you struggle to resist saying you're not doing it right? Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, the final day of a second week of special Pesach readings. And let's go to the book of Devarim, or Deuteronomy, chapter number 16, beginning with verse 1. Guard the new moon of Aviv and perform the Pesach to Yahweh your Elohim. For in the new moon of Aviv, Yahweh your Elohim brought you out of Mitzrayim by night. You shall slaughter the Pesach to Yahweh your Elohim from the flock and from the herd in the place where Yahweh chooses to put his name. Eat no leavened bread with it. For 7 days you eat unleavened bread with it, bread of affliction, because you came out of the land of Mitzrayim in haste, so that you remember the day in which you came out of the land of Mitzrayim all the days of your life. So we are being restored to the feast days of Yahweh, the HaMoedim, and in the process of learning when these days come to pass, first of all, we begin to find where there are variations of observance. Some people observe on one day and some on another. For those that are new, you may throw up your hands and say, which day is correct? You call those that you know that have already been in this way, if you know such a person. What day are you observing on? And how do you do it? So there is this exploration level of just trying to figure it out. I remember those days. Sometimes we're still in them. Sometimes the days are debated about which calendar are we following, what moon phase are we following. Are we calculating from the Aviv barley harvest or from the new moon, from the vernal equinox? Exactly what are we doing? All of these variations leads to some sense of conflict or variances of observance. Should we gather alone with our families in our homes? Should we gather with all of our congregation in a different location altogether? What do we do? What is permitted? Do we still put blood on the door or not? On and on and on the questions go. No one has at this point enough Levitical standing that I know personally to qualify for wearing the HaMoedim or feast day official badge and carry the whistle and be able to give out tickets. No one has that authority. The reality is we are learning. Until the actual event is repeated, there will probably be another Pesach, another night or day of deliverance. The fall feast in particular, we are looking for the authentic Day of Trumpets, the authentic Yom Kippur, the authentic Feast of Tabernacles or Sukkot. These days are coming when the feast days prophetic call will be answered and completely fulfilled. When that takes place, no one knows for sure. Until it takes place, every event is to be treated as a dress rehearsal. We go through it as if this is the final and absolute realized event. All celebrations after that will be in memoriam of what has already taken place. So we do the best we can, as authentically as we can, with as much of a whole heart and careful observance as we can. But we understand someone's going to disagree with us. Someone's going to do it differently. We need to be willing to make allowances for one another. So if you observe on a different date than I do, I will support you, encourage you. I will even participate with you. And I will affirm your recognition of the event and celebrate your observance of it. I will try to help you and answer any questions that you have as to what procedures might need to be followed. I want to support you. We need to support and encourage one another, even if we're different. Some things just, we understand they're not allowed. For example, a shrimp cocktail is not to be served as an appetizer for your Passover meal. I saw a meme recently that showed a picture of the traditional artist rendering of the Last Supper, with everyone seated on one side of the table. And the meme was, what if Southern women had cooked for this meal? Well, the table was full of pork products. Not kosher, not going to work. However, if you want to meet as a large group, I will encourage you to do so. If you want to meet in your homes privately as families, that's a good thing to do. I will encourage you in that. Here's the understanding. Even in Scripture, there are variances of how it might have happened. For example, in our reading, it says that they came out of Mitzrayim in haste, and it says that they came out by night in verse number 1. Yet we read in the book of Numbers, chapter number 33, verse 3, so they departed from Ramses in the first new moon, on the 15th day of the first new moon. On the morrow of the Pesach, the children went out with boldness before the eyes of all the Mitzrites, in order to be seen by the Mitzrites, and on the morrow suggests that they came out in daylight. If we go to Shemot, or Exodus chapter number 12, verse number 3, it says that they came out on the 10th day of the new moon. And it says also that they came out at night. Let me see if I can find that. All right, verse 31. He called for Moshe and Aaron by night and said, arise, go out from the midst of my people, both you and the children of Israel, and go and serve Yahweh as you said. Did they go out at night or in the morning? The verses seem to contradict one another. It would seem that the command for absolute deliverance came maybe at night. The effect of that may have taken place once the sun came up, which gives us an understanding then that it may be the same in our day, that the legal call, the legal procedures that allow you and I to be delivered from the lands of our exile may indeed come during a time of darkness, that is, during the days of tribulation. But the effect of it may not take place until the day star arises, that is, that Yeshua makes his appearance in the clouds and all eyes behold him. It could be that way. Now, what's also interesting is in the book of 1 Kings, chapter number 18, verse 21, Eliyahu, or Elijah, came to all the people and said, how long will you keep hopping between opinions? If Yahweh is Elohim, follow him, and Baal, follow him. But the people answered him not a word. That phrase, keep hopping, is Pesach. How long are you going to keep Pesaching, hopping over, skipping over between two opinions? Make up your mind. Are we going to follow the systems of this present world and be in tune with it and agreeable and acceptable by it? Or are we going to fully embrace all that the feast days offer to us, along with the fullness of the Torah, along with a Hebraic understanding of who our Messiah is, along with an expectation of what the Torah describes as our future and the coming of this kingdom? Which way are we going to go? If you're going to observe the holidays of Yah, the feast days of Yah, then embrace it to the full. Shabbat Shalom to you, to your family, to everyone who's attached with you, to those who are seated with you at your table. May the presence of our Yah and his Messiah fill you and overwhelm you. May he fill you with joy, with healing in your bodies and minds and spirits. and give you great joy. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Till then, shalom.